Hello, everybody, and welcome back to C&D Nintendo. I'm your host, Linky, and today we're finally taking a look at the Monopoly Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition. Has been a video that I have been putting off for many years now, and now is finally the time to do it. And this is going to be a long video. At the end, there is actually a video of Cash, Mr. A, Tay, and myself playing this in the summer of 2017. So, yeah, it's a bit old one. But this is the collector's edition. Now, for those of you who do not know what Monopoly is, it's basically a board game that deals in real estate. And the objective of the game is to basically make your competitors, the other players, bankrupt by making them land on your property and having to pay rent and stuff like that. As said, I have the collector's edition. This comes in two separate editions, the normal and the collector's. And the only difference that I could find in these two is that one of the controllable items or pieces that you can use is different. In the collector's edition, you get the Ocarina, like this one right here. This is like you use to move this your character, if you can say. This is one you can use. Now there comes a total of 6 different kinds. There comes the arrow, or the bow. There comes the Hylian shield, a hookshot, the Triforce, and finally a boomerang. Now these are just metal pieces that you can use to navigate the board. The detail is somewhat okay on most of them. For instance, here the arrow is like solid. There's not much detail. There's no air in between, like in with the Triforce. The Ocarina is actually pretty okay, considered for this. Let me say, what is the other controllable piece that you can get in the standard edition? Well, that is actually the what's it called? The slingshot from Ocarina of Time. You might have noticed that most of this game, like all of them, is like something straight out of Ocarina of Time, which is what they based it upon. And you'll see the board image here in a second as I move the box. It is straight out of Ocarina of Time. So this is what they based it on. I mean, the basic design. But you have properties from all over the Zelda. You have from the Minish Cap, you have from Spirit Tracks, you have from Twilight Princess, you have from... I'm not sure you actually have from Majora's Mask. I think that's the only one that's not really here, but like Wind Waker, Bomb Shop, all over the places. So, and each property has a value of like, depending on how much it costs. It goes from like the Minish Village and all the way over to the Temple of Time. And if we take like the Temple of Time property here, you can actually see the rent is like 50 rubies and mortgage, like you can sell it back to the bank if you want. And it actually increases in value as you put Deku spouts and Deku trees on it. Now, what is a Deku spout and a Deku tree? This is the game's housing mechanic. A Deku spout is basically what would be a tree or a house, a small green house, like this one right here. This is a standard house in any Monopoly game, and it's usually just called houses, if I'm not mistaken. But here it's called a Deku spout, and a Deku tree in every other is basically a hotel that looks like this. I don't know why, with everything else they made, is why didn't they just make a Deku tree, plastic figure, and a deco spout or a deco something to make it, this is like for this game. But no, they just took the standard ones, which is a little bit weird if you ask me. The way the game plays is that you start here, you roll a couple of dice, and then you move the X amount, and then if you land on this one and it's empty, you can buy it. If it's owned by a player, you have to pay rent and stuff like that. Then you have like the empty bottle, which is these cards that is up here. These are put here, and then you shuffle them at the start of the game, and then you choose one. Empty bottle, hero of time, advance to go. That is start over here and collect 200 rubies at this point. You put them into the chest, which is here. It's supposed to be in the middle of the board, and then you just put the card here, and then when it's full, you reshuffle it. But I think it takes up too much space, and usually just put it off at the side. That's how you do that. Then you have the community chest, which is over here, as you can see right here. And you land on these chests, and that's a different set of cards, which is these cards. And this is like usually good cards. 4 sword quest, collect 10 rubies from every other player. Let's take a different one. Your deco shield has burned, pay 50. So it's like random, you can have whatever. Skull Tooler Troubles, pay 50 rubies, and so on and so on. These follow the same rules as the empty bottles, and it's basically just over there. Now, the money in the game comes in ones that looks like this. It has a 1 ruby, a value of 1. Nothing specific. Again, they have made specific money for the game, which is just crazy. They didn't do unique houses and stuff like that. And here you have a 5. And you have a 10. Different color. This is like a bluish. And you have 20. Again, nothing on the back. And then you have 50. It's purple. You have 100, which is like an off-colored orange, beige maybe. And then finally, you have the 500 rupee one. Nothing specific here. They're all the same, printed on different. Now the game also comes with specific rules. For custom Legend of Zelda player gameplay, randomly deal each player an item card, one of these, and that can be used. Now, we actually played this, and I used one of these cards to basically make Mr. A not win when we were done. The way we played it was to make a small video, and in Mario Party style, 10 rounds, and the one with the most money won, just to keep it simple. But here you can have, see, the Wind Waker card. Take your opponent's token and move it to any space on the board. That player is now subject to privileges and penalties pertaining that space. You can only use it once. Remove the ownership of any single property from an opponent and return it to the bank. This can be used at any time. This is the one I used on Mr. A. Goddess Harp. After landing on an opponent's location, remove all improvements. That's like deco houses and stuff like that, while avoiding any penalties, so you don't have to pay. But again, it's a one-time thing. Spirit Flute. Trigger an opponent to swap their highest value property with your lowest value property. If that player complains, you may receive an additional 100 from him or her. You can only use this. Now this is probably the weakest card. I mean, ideally it sounds nice, but most people won't trade, and yeah, I don't really see this working. Diminish cap. Grant you immunity to any penalty pertaining to that space you land on. If the space is properly owned by an opponent, he or she must pay half the amount of that space rent. Phantom Hourglass. Immediately after an opponent buys a property from the bank, you may take it from him or her, and it now belongs to you. This is probably one of the more powerful ones, especially if you're trying to get two expensive properties of Temple of Time and Hyrule Castle. If you have one and someone else buys it, the other one, you can actually get it pretty quickly. Now, this is more or less the game as such, and there will be an extended video at the end where you can see us playing it. There will be no sound, probably some music of some kind. And yeah, I do believe that it was the lovely Tay who won, followed by Cash, me, and then finally Mr. A. So, yeah, if you have any questions about the game, ask in the comments. I'll be more than willing to answer. And thanks for watching. Please remember to like the video as it helps us get more views and stuff like that, and subscribe if you like what you see here. We have plenty of more content coming away. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.